Jair Messias Bolsonaro is a Brazilian politician and retired military officer who is the 38th President of Brazil, elected in 2018 as a member of the conservative Social Liberal Party before cutting ties with them. He has been in office since 1 January 2019. From 1991 to 2018 he served in Brazil's Chamber of Deputies, representing the state of Rio de Janeiro. Bolsonaro was born in the town of Glicério, in the state of São Paulo. He graduated from the Agulhas Negras Military Academy in 1977 and served in the Brazilian Army's field artillery and parachutist units. He became known to the public in 1986, when he wrote an article for Veja magazine criticizing low wages for military officers, after which he was arrested and detained for 15 days. A year later, the same magazine accused him of planning to plant bombs in military units, which he denied. After a first-degree conviction, the Brazilian Supreme Military Court acquitted him in 1988. He moved to the reserve in 1988 with the rank of captain and ran for the Rio de Janeiro City Council that year, elected as a member of the Christian Democratic Party. In 1990 Bolsonaro was elected to the lower chamber of Congress and he was re-elected 6 times. During his 27-year tenure as a congressman, he became known for his strong support of national conservatism. He is a vocal opponent of same-sex marriage and homosexuality, abortion, affirmative action, drug liberalization and secularism. In foreign policy, he has advocated closer relations to the United States and Israel. During the 2018 presidential campaign, he started to advocate economically liberal and pro-market policies, a polarizing and controversial politician. His views and comments, which have been described as far-right and populist, have drawn both praise and criticism in Brazil. Bolsonaro announced his candidacy for president in March 2016 as a member of the Social Christian Party. He left the party in 2018 and joined the Social Liberal Party, and then launched his presidential campaign in August that year, with retired General Hamilton Mourão as his running mate. He portrayed himself as an outsider and a supporter of family values. He came in first place in the first round of the general election on 7 October 2018, with Workers' Party candidate Fernando Haddad coming in second. The two candidates had a runoff on 28 October 2018, and Bolsonaro was elected with 55.1% of the popular vote. Bolsonaro placed many army officers in key positions in his cabinet. Before his inauguration, Bolsonaro said he would fill positions in his government based only on technical qualifications and skills rather than ideological sympathy. During his presidency, many appointees clashed ideologically with the government. His Minister of Justice, Education, the Secretary of Government, the head of the Postal Service and other government officials fell out of favor with Bolsonaro and resigned. He focused on domestic affairs in his first months in office, dealing primarily with the fallout of 2014 Brazilian economic crisis. The economy did recover, albeit slowly, during his first year in office. While crime rates fell sharply, multiple controversies marked his administration's first years. In 2019, Bolsonaro left the Social Liberal Party amid a confrontation with other members and formed the Alliance for Brazil. During his presidency, he rolled back protections for indigenous groups in the Amazon rainforest and facilitated its destruction through deforestation. Bolsonaro's response to the COVID-19 pandemic in Brazil was criticized across the political spectrum. He sought to downplay the pandemic and its effects, opposed quarantine measures, and fired 2 health ministers, while the death toll increased rapidly. As a result, public opinion, which had been favorable during his first year in office, turned negative throughout most of 2020, briefly becoming positive again after authorizing emergency payments before turning negative once more in 2021. President Federal Deputy Councilor of Rio de Janeiro Bolsonaro was born on 21 March 1955 in Glicério, in São Paulo, in southeast Brazil, to Percy Geraldo Bolsonaro and Olinda Bonchuri. His family is mostly of Italian descent, with some German ancestry. On his father's side, he is the great-grandson of Italians from Veneto and Calabria. Bolsonaro's paternal grandfather's family comes from Veneto, more precisely Anguillara Veneta, in the province of Padua. His great-grandfather, Vittorio Bolsonaro, was born on the 12th of April 1878. Vittorio's parents immigrated to Brazil when he was 10. Together with his siblings, Giovanna and Tranquillo, his German ancestry came from his father's maternal grandfather, Carlos Hintze, born in Hamburg around 1876, who immigrated to Brazil in 1883. His maternal grandparents were born in Lucca, in Tuscany, and went to live in Brazil in the 1890s. Bolsonaro spent most of his childhood moving around São Paulo with his family, living in Ribeira, Jundiaí, and Sé.